Why is it so expensive to get help in your court case, whether that's with a solicitor or someone like me by your side? Look, there's an awful lot of paperwork. That's one of the biggest reasons. Over the years, I've helped thousands of people, and sometimes I've literally been given suitcases with a paperwork. And when I mean suitcases with thousands of pages. Often, the pages are all mixed up. I end up putting jigsaw puzzles together of documents where there's pages here, pages there, and then there's duplicated documents. So you might have 4 or 5 versions of the same report or 4 or 5 versions of the same statement, and I'm left wondering, which was the one you submitted to the court? What was the one your ex saw? What is the one that represents your true position? Another factor is there are a hell of a lot of factors. So what you want, what the law can grant you, what the law can do, what the court can do, what you want, what your ex wants, a whole host of factors. There's a lot to go through here, and you probably know that a simple mistake can make a big difference. I'm not talking about the sort of thing where you've got an American lawyer kind of thing where someone gives you a big gotcha moment and the case ends. That's Hollywood dramas. But you know what? There are an awful lot of factors. A lot of it's judgment as well. So often I get questions, especially here on TikTok, can I do this? Can I do that? Is this reasonable? Is that reasonable? And the answer is very often, if you can convince a judge that what you want is reasonable, then absolutely it's reasonable. Problem is, there's no definition, no legal definition of what reasonable is. It's important to realise that although your solicitor might be charging you £250 plus VAT, asking £500 to be put on account every month, they're not getting all the money. I've known solicitors that are on actually quite poor money. Family law is not the area of law you need to go into if you want to make money. That's something like wills or probate, but apparently that's really boring. It takes an awful lot of time to go through documents. If you give me a suitcase of documents, and like I say I have, it's going to take me time to go through it. I did one suitcase once for about 3,000 pages in one day. And when I mean one day, I mean I started at 8 AM, finished at 5 PM. If you ask me a question and you've not got all the information that's needed for me to give you a reasonable assessment of things, chances are I'm either going to have to go for the paperwork or give you a best guess and say, but that's depending on the other information available and I've not got. Sometimes it's more of an art than a science. That is what you're paying for. You're paying for the time to go through it. It's quite common for people to say things like, the legal system is a huge rip-off. But believe me, this stuff takes time. That's what the cost is. The bottom line is, if you want to keep your legal costs down, be reasonable. And if your ex is reasonable, it's even cheaper. In fact, it's so cheap if you and your ex are reasonable that when it comes to child matters, the cost is zero. I've seen cases that have taken tens of thousands of pounds, hundreds of thousands of pounds, and those cases can go on indefinitely if you or your ex is unreasonable. And like I say though, there's no definition of reasonable in law. So how much does it cost? That's up to you and your ex. Why is it so expensive? There's a shit ton of paperwork. I hope this helps.